Roster Mania update. Hydra, Envoy, Scrap, and Ghosty are exploring a potential super team, in quotes, on 100 Thieves. What we know, Hydra and Scrap would like to team up. Yet that's the obvious. That's what we've been talking about for the last couple weeks. Budget for a 100 Thieves super team would be challenging, plus require multiple buyouts. Other deals can still happen. This team is godlike on paper. I mean, you have Dan Ghosty, who is arguably top, not even arguably, was a top AR this year, top 5 AR. You have Scrappy, who was the flex player, like the #1 flex player, #2, right? But top 3 flex. You know what I mean? I mean, you can argue that between different players, but you know, obviously Scrappy, top 3, one of the best flexes. Hydra, don't even get me started on Hydra. I think Hydra's the best player in the game. So you got Hydra there. Hydra's literally, I think everything revolves around Hydra. I think everything's revolving around him. You know what I mean? And then, of course, you have Dylan Envoy, who I think is just the perfect player to slot in with these guys because Envoy's literally the route taker. He'll hit those flanks. He'll hit pinches. He'll bring good comms. He'll help these guys in practice. He's a smart player. Envoy's always been a smart player. So on paper, the team looks incredible. It looks an incredible team. Now, here's where I'm confused, man. This is where I'm a little confused, chat. This is where I'm a little confused here. Okay? I thought LA Thieves was cutting back. I thought this year they had to cut back on their spending. That's why they went down the route with having the team that they had, which granted, I thought the situation at hand, I thought they did a great job with, you know, minimizing the spending, but still having a good team and still making some noise and still fighting in there. You know what I mean? And I think that says a lot just about the organization and the coaching staff and all that stuff. But I'm just confused now how you go from not spending way too much. You're like, holy shit, this is way too much. We can't spend this much. Boom, to cutting back on a year. To now all of a sudden, they're getting a fucking super team like this. Like, bro, they're going to have to... Are Nate Shot's subscribers funding the CDL organization? I mean, what the fuck is going on here? I mean, it's just... How many subs has he got? How many subs has Nate Shot got, chat? How many subs he got right now? He got like, what, 17, 18,000? He's got 20,000 subs. He's almost at 18,000 subs. I mean, hey, bro. Hey. You know what I mean? Oh, let me see something. Calculator. So, you got to think... Nate Shot, right? 18,000 subs, right? 18,000 subs. You got to think times that. Say he's got a 350 deal because he's Nate Shot. There's no way he's on a 250 deal. That means he's making 63 grand a month just off subs alone. Then you also got to account ad revenue, right? So if you account ad revenue, that's probably with the viewership that he's holding. I mean, I see him with a concurrent like 4 to 5 every day. I see him with a concurrent 4 to 5 every day. So that's probably going to be, honestly, chat, like another 50,000. No bullshit. That's probably like another 50,000. And now you're sitting at 113,000. Nate Shot probably also, I'm guessing, probably has a salary. I'm guessing he probably has a salary. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Chat, you guys are fucking comedy, bro. You guys are fucking comedy, man. You guys are fun. You know what I mean? I mean, chat, he might be able to afford the fucking COD team by himself. You know what I mean? I mean, he might be able to.
What's good?
Come on, Benja. I've been waiting for you, bro. Where you been at?
I was at the supermarket, brother. I had to stock up.
Bro, you could have FaceTimed me. You could have answered my call at the supermarket and been like, you could have been like, yo, I'm at the supermarket right now. Give me like, bro, I literally have full-blown phone calls in my Uber. I'm not even trolling. I literally have full-blown phone calls in my Uber.
I don't like doing that.
You don't like doing that?
Nah, not really.
Why?
Then it's just weird and awkward that I'm just having.
Why is it weird and awkward? Like,
well, because I'm like, you're also on stream and like I don't like the Uber driver. It's just a weird situation. If we were having a private business call, sure, but not if you're, you know, doing some stream thing.
Is that weird, Chad? Is that weird? They're saying it's weird. They're agreeing with you, Chad. Is that actually weird? Is that weird being on a call? Should I stop doing that? Is it weird being on phone calls like in an Uber?
If you're just doing a regular call, it's probably not too bad, but like a stream thing, like probably not. That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
Can we talk one thing about the scrap thing though? Because I think everybody's taking this thing like the wrong way.
Dude, I'm a weirdo.
Can I talk about another angle on this that I haven't seen anyone on Twitter talk about yet?
Yeah, that there's a potential scrap can just stay on Toronto. Is that what you're going with or no?
Well, we'll get to that last. I want everybody to ask themselves, because the way that this has come out, right? There's this breaking point tweet, and then Jake tweeted about it, kind of confirming it's a thing, but he didn't add any context. So like, context kind of matters here, and I think the most important context is who leaked this, right? I don't think it's coming from Toronto, New York, or from Thieves because we don't get their position at all on this, right? The only orgish quote we have is a quote challenging quote budget for 100T super team would be challenging, but that could also not come from an org. That could be colored from somebody else, right? So realistically, it could be from a third party. Unlikely. I think it's coming from a player, and you got to ask yourself if this is coming from a Hydra scrap combination, Hydra Envoy scrap Dan combination. Why are they leaking it? Are they trying to get public pressure on someone? You got to think that maybe the Toronto New York negotiation isn't going as well or as fast as they may think. Everybody's starting to fucking panic, think they're not going to get the team they want. And this is why this shit's coming together. But I just don't see, like, I don't know. This is peak fucking silly season. Like, you really think fucking Thieves is going to pull this off?
I mean, realistically, this is what I was telling my chat, Ben. I don't think Thieves are gonna pull this off. I don't think they are. Just because I'm a little confused as to why. I'm confused as to how they go from a year where they're saying, hey, listen, we're spending way too much. We have to dial it down. This is the budget that we have to work with in order for this to go in the right direction that we need it to go.
Yeah.
And then they build the team that they did. And I think for the situation that they were in, you know, for the budget that they had, I think they did a great job making the most of it. And now when you look at this team, I mean, Ben, this team is not cheap. This is an expensive team. I mean, I know for a fact, like, especially like with scraps on Hydra, like some of these guys, like these guys are getting paid a lot of money. Dan's going to want a lot of money too, because Dan's a superstar player. He should get a lot of money. So he's going to want something too. Envoy's been in this industry for a long time. He's got to be on something good. You know, so this team from top to bottom is going to cost you a lot of money. So it just seems like the fact that they're even considering this team makes you think that they're going to want to spend. I mean, granted, it does say in the tweet that budget is a
hold on. Does it say that Thieves? Does it say that Thieves wants this team? Read the tweet back. Does it give you any color that Thieves is down for this?
100%. I think 100% they're down for it, but I think because of budgets. I mean, who wouldn't be down for these fucking Ben? Look at the fucking team.
The budget's part of it. Read the fucking tweet again. This is why I just don't like this. Not to go into too much tangent, I just don't like this kind of tweet news breaking leak stuff because there's just so much context and like color here. Read this tweet over. Does it say anything that 100 Thieves is down for this?
Hydra, Envoy, Scrap, and Ghosty are exploring a potential super team on 100 Thieves. Yes, that means that actively right now the players are exploring.
The players are exploring. But there's an org down for it.
Ben, I think the organization is saying yes, we are 100% down. But
are they though? Like, listen, because Tom, you've been in situations like this before, where players think that this fucking.
But they're gonna try.
They may not try. That's the thing. Like, it's why I just don't like.
You gotta try a little bit. I mean, you gotta try.
What
kind of businessman are you? What are you, a pussy? You gotta try. I mean, you gotta be sitting there like, yo, holy fuck, we could potentially get Hydra, Scrappy, Dan Ghosty,
okay,
and Dylan Envoy over here. You know what I mean? I mean, that's a good situation.
Here's what I think's going on. I know that we've talked about this before. I know Scrap's been offered around to and Envoy to pretty much the whole Toronto roster has been offered around to the CDL, right? Like, hey, we're Toronto, we're open for business. We've talked about that on the flank. Paco, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in the process here, Cloud9 is kind of try to market value check him just to kind of know if they're going to try and sign him into a contract or what have you. Like, what's the actual market value they can evaluate effectively? So, like, I think Thieves kind of know market price on the situation. I just think the players are trying to make a super team, and I just don't see how Thieves would be. Bro, the economic like involvement from Thieves to pull this off is over $1 million. And that's on top of us assuming that you're not going to give everybody a super pay cut, right? Because they have to move from LA, from fucking Texas. You got 3 people on this team would have to move across the country.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is important to know in this situation if Thieves is down because I just don't know if that's fact.
Let him talk. Ben's talking. He's making a good argument. He's making a good argument, Chad. You know what I mean?
He's assuming they're down because it's a good team, and I agree. This is a great team if it were to happen. That's not what we're arguing. I'm just saying, like, I just don't. This is why I just don't like the vague tweet like this. Like, I come from the players clearly, or friends of the players, and it's like, bro, like, I just don't. is Steve's actually going to be willing to try and pull this off? By the way, you have to buy out 3 players, 2 from Toronto who notoriously haven't sold anybody, and New York who are going to try and squeeze any penny out of fucking a Hydra sale. So you're going to spend probably, realistically, somewhere between 6 to maybe $1 million to buy.
Okay, and
out.
Ben, you also got to think who you're dealing with here.
Before salary.
Okay, maybe they have the money, Ben. Maybe they have the money and they're willing to do it. You know, maybe
well,
they
do
got
we
the
know?
money.
Because clearly this again. Why I just don't.
Ben.
Got a million questions now.
No, we don't know. We don't know how much they're willing to spend. I mean, that's literally, that's information that we won't know unless somebody from that side says it. I mean, I see people in the chat saying that has Nate talked about this on stream? Has Matt talked about this stuff?
I assume if he did, it would have gotten clipped already.
I mean,
and he may also not know.
This guy keeps saying this shit. Nate Shaw said they are investing in COD team this year because of the watch parties with Seth.
Okay, do you have a clip?
So what? Like, yeah, we need a clip. We need a clip for something like that. But yeah, if they're trying to invest back in the team with the content that they're making, I mean, yeah, that's a good. I mean, that's good. I mean, that's really good. If that's what they're trying to do. I mean, I just don't. I want to make sure there's a clip. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be before I comment on it. That was a while ago now. Somebody said that was a while ago. Nate Shaw did say they have the money. Listen, Ben, I'm getting the vibe here that Nate Shaw wants to fucking win, bro. Listen, every time I watch Matt. Okay, but bro, every time I watch Matt, he loses fucking composure when his teams are losing, bro. This guy's throwing shit, breaking shit.
He's a former player. He's crashing on me.
He's got nothing but passion up there, right, bro? And there becomes a time where passion takes over when it comes to like business and fun. Like, he's gonna want to do what he wants to do, bro. He doesn't give a fuck. And also, he's got money, but these guys got money. Like, it's not like these guys don't got money, Like, these guys got money, man. These guys got money.
But here's the problem, Tom. In this hypothetical deal, they have 0 leverage because they are buying out the best players on 2 different teams. Toronto is going to negotiate with one party here because Paco would also be leaving. There's just like, Thieves is going to get raked on any transfer costs here. And
this is also, let me tell you this, Ben. Also, okay, one thing we haven't talked about is how is this team, right, from an organization standpoint, right? If you're looking at LA Thieves right now, bro, this is dollar signs, bro. Hydra, Scrap, Dan, and Dylan Envoy. Hey, personality-wise, content-wise, like, these guys will get on camera. They can make a lot of good quality content around this team. Like, this team, a lot of people are gonna want to see what's going on with this team.
I mean, listen,
like, bro, these guys are a very marketable team that they could actually probably make money from these guys.
I don't think there's a negative argument. Okay,
not this year, but you can put. I'm not gonna. Hold on. Let me just finish my statement, man. You know what I mean?
Okay, you finish your statement.
It's not that, because a business strategy sometimes the first year, like, they might not profit this year from having this team, right?
Ignore the money.
But I'm looking at it like down the line, like, if this is what they want to start doing, like if LA Thieves wants to start investing into making their organization the best team in COD, like going for that, like trying every year to be the best, and like if they're trying to invest in people like Scrap and Hydra and shit, like, I think they're looking at the future. You know what I'm saying? I think they're not looking in the short term, they're looking long term.
Okay, so listen. So, like, take the money aside. I don't think anyone is going to argue in this chat that they shouldn't do this, right? If money was not an issue, this is a no-brainer on so many different levels. As far as the economics to, like, actually make a profit from this team, it's not going to be that easy. They would have to pivot very quickly on any kind of sales pipeline to try and, like, get some new additional businesses based on getting the super team, among other deals they might be renegotiating or just general org deals. It's like, I don't think it's going to move the needle on that this year. That's a next year thing. I just think the difficulty in this and the next step is I'd love to know from the Thieves end, A, how they feel about this. Is it one of those situations like you and I know about, this happens all the time, players have a genius fucking idea, they go to the GM or the coach and they say it's absolutely not going to happen. They lose full, they go to the owner and the owner says that's also not going to happen. And they cry baby cheese on Twitter or their friends, and that's how this stuff leaks. We just don't know how realistic Thieves sees this as an opportunity. If they do see it as a realistic opportunity, I also just don't see this happening very quickly because they have to negotiate buyouts for two of the best players available. Realistically, there's no one on Optic or FaZe is going anywhere, and plus Envoy. So I don't know. as much as this makes a lot of sense
But
for Thieves,
everything
they'd immediately be the
you
third best
just keep
team.
circling back to the fact that you just say it. You just think that Thieves will not spend the money here. They're just not going to spend the money.
I
just say it.
I don't think they will. So that's why I'm curious if that's true or not. That's the problem I have with this whole thing is like everybody, I think the players are leaking this because they're trying to get public pressure on Thieves to actually pull the trigger on this. And I want to know now the context of the conversation to date, right? Like if they already had a conversation with Thieves and Thieves have said, yo, we're not going to do this. And now the players are throwing a hissy fit, trying to leak this and like get public pressure to get Thieves to 180 on it. That's more interesting to me than the potential of this team because I just don't think it's realistic on the surface of it now. But if Thieves are actually considering it, then it's a real, real combo.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Someone
listen,
said, yeah, Ben, that's why they're doing it. But that's why I think that's. I'm surprised.
I mean, listen, I will say, Ben, that I do think they have money in the bank. Like
but
just because they
no, do the math. How much do you think this team?
All right, hold on, we'll do the math in a second. But just because a team or just because an organization cut back 1 year on their spending because they didn't want to spend a lot 1 year doesn't mean they're looking to spend a lot. They're not looking to spend a lot the next year.
I know, but you've got to contemplate. This is not. But it's not a cheap. Okay, let's think this through. I wanted just people to understand the economics here.
Like it's not like they never had money. They probably even when they took the budget, they probably still had the money. It's just about
Here's what I know about Thieves currently. I think Thieves are probably spending salary costs on their team this year, probably less or around $500,000. Realistically, they cut back heavily on their team. Okay, just to buy out 3 of the players on this team, you would exceed that number, and then you got to pay these guys salary, which is probably at minimum, assuming that everybody takes a super pay cut, is going to be a quarter. So then you're paying $1 million salary and $500,000 or more in buyout. So they're going to be on the hook to make this happen, $1.5 million to maybe $2 million. Do they have the cash on hand?
Yeah, they probably do have $1.5 million to $2 million.
It's a lot of money, though.
Well, some people have a lot of fucking money. You know what I mean? Some people have a lot of fucking cash, and they're okay.
In the chat saying they would win money, but like, how much is the org realistic? Like, okay, you spend $2 million, the team does pretty good. You're realistic.
I do, Ben. I do
150, get 200K unless you win EWC.
Ben, I do get exactly what you're saying. I do get. I actually like. There's a lot of people in the chat saying you're yapping and this and that. I completely get it. Just even just looking at the economics and everything. Behind the scenes, that all the orgs are cutting, bro. Like these organizations have been spending way too much money, and they're looking to cut back on their spending. You know what I mean? So everything that you're saying, Ben, is true. I'm not disagreeing with you. Like I see people in the chat thinking I'm not. I actually do agree with a lot of the things you're saying. I'm just saying, Ben, you don't think they have? I 100% agree with everything you're saying. 100%. Do you think they won't do it? Like you can't see them realistically. You can't see them spending $1.5 million, $2 million to make it happen.
I would love to. Okay, people want to just think about this. Do they have literal cash on hand, or cash on hand when the parts of the deal would execute, where they'd have to pay Thieves and C9 parts of this deal to actually execute this? $2 million is not an insignificant sum of money. If they don't have that cash on hand, they're either going to have to get it from other investors or Matt's putting it in himself. Like I think people assume that this thing costs less than it actually is. Listen, if they want to win, I think they should absolutely do this because this team would be fucking incredible. I just would love to know, like, realistically, if Thieves actually wants to pull this off. And by the way, even if they want to pull it off,
at the end of the day,
last thought. I also think if you're fucking Toronto, like, wasn't there a role where I'm Toronto? Why don't I consider how I can do a version of this with three of these players? Why wouldn't I also try and fucking buy Paco?
I mean, they
probably are.
If
you're Toronto, if you're Scrap, and who probably wants to dip, like, doesn't that now put Scrap fucking re-signing back in play? Like, that's why I just think there's so much context here that's fucking missing on the org side that I'd love to know. We haven't heard Jack fucking squat about what Toronto thinks about this whole transfer situation, other than Adam Adamu's fucking very vague ass tweet like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I remember Adam. What did he tweet again? Because he was making it sound like everything that's being talked about is not true. And Ben, you and I know how Toronto moves. You know what I mean? I mean, you know how they're moving. They're businessmen, bro. They're businessmen at the end of the day. You know,
Well,
oh
they're
God,
stuck
here
between a
comes
rock and a
Zinni.
hard
Here
pl-
comes
this-
fucking Tony. Here he comes. Ben, that was a good talk between me and you, though. I actually
was a
agreed
good
with a
combo.
lot of the things you were saying. I agree with, because when you look at behind the scenes with the economics and everything, bro, a lot of these teams aren't spending. You know, and they might have the money on hand. That's why I was saying, like, you never know. The $1.5 million to $2 million. I mean, they could have the money to do it, Ben. That's why I'm like, I'm with you. I'm like, I don't know what's going on if they'll actually do it or not. You know, like that's kind of like the biggest question right now.
User was moved to
Yo.
your channel.
Tony, what's
good?
going on?
What's good, Zen?
What's up, boys?
What's
Well,
happening, man?
Not much go. That's my big
Uh,
question, Tom. I think if you're Jacob Hale or if you're the breaking point or rotation, the next question here is like, can you get a source at Thieves Toronto or Subliners or Cloud9, whatever the fuck we're calling them now, and like confirm this story, confirm what their current transfer thinking is, so like as a world we can understand how realistic this is, because it could just be the players just trying to throw a hissy fit to make this happen, and the real reality is that,
Tony,
you know,
what do you think about the
some
whole
other
situation?
moves.
What do you think about this LA Thieves? You think it's actually gonna happen? That's what we're just kind of talking about right now, Tony. Like, is this actually happening? Like, are they actually gonna spend this much money on this team
Yeah,
after having
well, no,
a year
I
where
mean,
they
I was
didn't
saying-
spend?
I think
You
it
know.
has to be. I think in order to get those three, you're looking at 600 to 700K, just in my mind ballparking, because it's like Scrap can walk in a year. I'm assuming Envoy can too. So they'll probably take, in my opinion, like 250, 300 for both, just if they're
Yeah.
trying to cut spending. Hydra's the question mark. It's like, I don't know what his contract looks like. If he can walk in a year, then once again, Cloud9 might be like, okay, we'll take 200 for him. So I think at the absolute bottom line, you're looking at 500K for all three. I would say 600 to 700 gets it done. But then the players would need to take pay cuts, because there's no way I see Thieves paying that much money and then paying these guys like inflated salaries.
Right.
That'd be crazy.
Which is why, Ben, they should entertain it. Because I remember you were like, nah, there's no, like, they might not even entertain it. You should entertain it. I mean, if this is who your superstar player wants to play with, why wouldn't you fucking entertain it? I mean, look at who he wants to play with.
The first thing I thought, though, is that now other teams know Hydra's potentially an option. There are some teams that might have like just sort of written Hydra off that could see this tweet and might be like, oh shit.
Well, Minnesota is
know.
the most interesting team in this whole situation, because they're sitting there. G2, we just got is a full history of spending money to fucking win championships. You can look at any esport for that. Obviously, in order to pull this team off, they'd have to buy out 4 players. Well, if any other org in the fucking scene is going to spend $2 million to pull this off, it's going to be G2. And people say Paco's not going to Minnesota, brother. They play in fucking Dallas. He wouldn't need to move anywhere.
Yeah, no, that's not really. I mean, I do think Thieves would
They
be
need
like,
to get the players he wants, though. You know,
Yeah,
like they have to.
100%.
Thieves would be a sick org for this team, but I don't know. I mean, will it happen?
The chat's funny, man.
Will this happen? I don't know. I mean, this shit's crazy.
No, it is crazy. It is crazy. But I 100%, like, if you're Nate or anybody on the Thieves side and your superstar player comes in and he's like, yo, like, I'm in a group chat right now with fucking Scrap and Hydra and Dylan, and we're trying to make this team happen, and they want to come here. I mean, that's like, I mean,
Yeah, but it's not that easy.
there's so many. No,
If
it's
you're
it's definitely not that easy. But like,
If you're,
hey, nothing is,
Thieves-
Tony. Nothing is easy, bro.
if you're Thieves and your nade shot, you should say absolutely nothing. Even if especially if you're considering this, say absolutely nothing about this. The minute they tip their hand that they're in the market for these guys, the price is going to go up 15%. Like they need to
That's
keep
not
this.
true,
they
because
need to keep-
no. I think any team that wants to buy has leverage. I think Ultra has zero leverage because it's obvious that they're trying to get money. So if I was an org, I would say, listen, this is what we're going to give you, and if not, you can pay him for a year, and then he's going to walk for free. That's what I would do.
But
If I'm buying Scrap and Envoy out, and they're trying to offload the players to try and get money in the short term, Ultra doesn't really have any legs to stand on, because everybody knows they don't want to pay that team. They can't pay that team. Scrap said it himself. He said our roster cannot play together. So if I was an org and I wanted to buy Scrap or Envoy, I would say this is the price, and that's what it is. Otherwise, they'll walk to us in a year for free.
I mean, the only thing is that Toronto could just not sell them, and they're all contracted. Like that's still
Exactly.
a possibility.
No, of course. But then he'll walk
That's what
for
he
free in a
said.
year.
But
and Ultra's
Toronto's
not going to get what they want, which is
Toronto's
money.
going.
And
to,
Toronto has all the leverage right now. They have all the power.
Toronto's going to act like that's a possibility. Like they are going to dangle that in this
I
conversation.
think they
until the
have
last
no
minute.
leverage. I'm not even going to lie. This is the one time where I think
Toronto?
it's so. Yeah, I mean, Scrap literally went live and said we cannot play together as a team. Us
Yeah,
four
but they
cannot
still
play
have them under
together.
contract. So just like that's why they have the leverage right now, because they're still under contract, and they can like you said, Zin, they can just say this is a number, take it or leave it.
Bro,
If not, whatever. You just have next year.
Guys, once again, with roster mania, I know I say be careful a lot. We are having players talk narratives on what's going on in roster mania without hearing from any of the orgs. Like, just because Scrap's saying that doesn't mean it's like the realistic truth of what's going on in Toronto.
Brother,
and if I've learned anything about the last 5 years,
they're trying to sell their players, and
they're definitely trying to sell their players.
100% they're trying, but it doesn't mean that they will.
They will. If they have offers on the table, they will take the money. Otherwise, you're going to run into a Pred situation where even if Scrap goes out there and they win 2 tournaments under Ultra, they would still make more money by
I don't know
selling
if
the
that's how
players.
Toronto ever operated, Tony. I'm going to be honest with you.
I don't know if they're
now. Every
they care about
camp
that.
is different with situations like this. Every camp is different. I don't know if Toronto's like that, and it's interesting. Bro, I don't think Toronto gives a fuck. Ben, does Toronto give a fuck? I don't think they give a fuck.
Toronto is.
I think they'd rather just hold the fucking players and be like, fine, if you're not gonna give us what we want, then don't fucking do it. Like,
Toronto is at a point where if like this thing dragged on for a while and like Scrap really tried to force them off, they would say, "Go fuck yourself, your bench," and they would just not care.
No, Zinni, you did play for Toronto, so I guess.
Brother, I promise you,
you did play for Toronto.
In my being, I fully believe. There is 0% chance the 4 players that were on Ultra this past year play together. The only way Scrap stays on Ultra, if they have offers for him, is if they let other players walk for free. They would have to say, okay, CleanX Insight, you can go walk for free then because we need to pay.
Why would they just drop Jamie, pick up someone else, and call it a day? You don't think that's a possibility? If they're like, everybody else is lowballing us, we want to give this a run. The players are professional. They're going to figure it out.
But okay, but you have to realize a lot of the way. Listen. It is my opinion. Of course, I can't sit here and say this is an absolute fact, but I fully believe if there's a sufficient offer for Scrap, they will offload him.
Well, do we know? Do we know if there's a sufficient offer for Scrap?
I don't know, but I mean, of all players, I feel like definitely he's got to have. Surely some team wants Scrap. Obviously, Cloud9's in the talks. I'm not sure what the number looks like. I'm not saying Ultra's going to take $50,000, so please don't. I'm not saying that. But if there's like a buyout like $100,000 to $200,000. And not 100. I would say if Ultra gets offered 200K for Scrap, they're not just going to hold him for a year and then he's going to walk for free. Makes 0 sense. If they're willing to get rid of him now, why would you let him walk for free when you could make 200K?
Because they also may have the same problem that fucking Seattle has. If they got a price in mind and it's under the price, they would rather.
Okay, how do you think Seattle feels now? Seattle was offered $500,000 for a player and he walked for 5 months for free.
Well, those guys, those aren't super billionaires. I don't think they're fucking thinking a second about that, to be honest.
I think they are thinking a second of that, which is why every team is cutting costs. So obviously, it's not as simple as these guys are billionaires. Otherwise, they wouldn't be cutting costs and willing to offload the best.
Ben, you were just saying. Ben, you were just saying before Zinni joined the call. You were saying that these guys are looking at it from an economic standpoint, how people are cutting costs, this and that. Now you're saying, well, the billionaires, they don't give a fuck.
Well,
realistically, we don't know.
Hold on, somebody in your chat said I was here when Zinni was right.
Well, here's my thing though, Tommy. Again, this is why I just don't. The situation is so annoying to me because it's like
we just don't know. It could be on there. They could. We don't know. This is all like what we're saying is anybody can be right. We could all be right, or we could all be wrong. Like, it all just comes down to Toronto and what they want to do. Do they have a number in mind? And if they don't get that number, they're not gonna sell them. Or if they get that number, boom, they're gonna sell. Like they might sell them, they might not. We don't know what they're thinking right now. Who knows what they're thinking?
I just want to give everybody the real possibility here, and this could do. I give this a % chance of actually being true. That the reason that this super team is forming is because Cloud9 told Paco, "Yo, we are not going to negotiate a buyout with Toronto."
Or Cloud9 just realizes they can make money and they care more about earning the profit than.
And that's why it's coming out now, because the New York option is pivoting. People saying no shot, I definitely see it as a possibility, 100%.
Well, hold on, and I don't actually know. You might. Isn't Cloud9 known for like trying to sell players to make money? I could have sworn someone was telling this recently. Okay, so if they have a history of selling top players to try and make money, let's call a spade a spade. It is very difficult to make money in the current Call of Duty esports market. So every
very
team
hard.
is struggling to make money. So when you do have top players, and like here's the reality: like very few teams. I don't know. Trying to make sure I vocalize this the right way. Cloud9 might just be trying to make a quick buck on Hydra. He's obviously, in my opinion, he has the most stock. If Hydra's available, I think that would be the highest buyout that you could get right now. And then Scrap, of course, right there with him. Probably neck and neck, or no pun intended, or right there behind him.
No, it really just comes down to what teams are willing to spend. And I mean, people are talking about it, but it's just a lot of hypotheticals, and there's a lot of different moving parts, and there's realistically, we will never know because we're not in a lot of the conversations that are going on, especially on the business side and how much they're willing to spend and how much they have in the bank. Like, we don't even know what these teams are working with or even what's going on. We don't have the papers in front of us. You know what I mean? I mean, this is
players,
just like
the players once again. I mean, I don't want to come back to this, but like the players screwed themselves like 7 or 8 years ago because on these top teams, the players are getting squeezed more and more and more now. Like they squeezed out 2 or 3 years ago. The bottom level, like world players, bottom tier players, all got kind of screws off those like 200K contracts they were getting in Modern for 2019, 2020. But now the top
Dude,
level
what
players,
the fuck are you
getting
saying?
squeezed. What am I saying?
Please say that again. And like, I did not understand.
just slow
what
it
you
down
said
a little
at
bit
all.
and say it in a different way.
What I'm saying is that like there's 2 levels to this. We just don't know if the orgs are willing to spend buyout costs. That is not confirmed. It's all speculation on our side. The second thing is I just know for a fact, and you guys have heard complaints from pro players about like even top level players that just every year instead of coming back to the org with a 5 or 10% raise, they're coming back and take a 5 or 10% pay cut or maybe bigger.
Well, yeah,
the orgs
because
are saying
the
the
players got
economic issues
paid.
are tough.
Because players are millionaires because of the inflated salaries when the league
100%.
started.
The millionaires don't need
100%.
fucking rich.
So I don't think players screwed up. I think orgs
My
screwed up,
salary
and now
was
they're trying to-
$250 a month.
and now they're trying to correct it, is what I think. I just think you have it wrong. I think
What the
players
fuck?
have been blessed with money, and orgs are finally like, oh my God, we've been absolutely robbed. So I think that's what's happening here.
I think to an extent that is true, but I also think to an extent these players have not done a good. The players allowing a league system where the default contract is a 1+1 with a team option is an insane business decision out of them. And the fact that they let that happen by not being organized prior to CDL starting is like the biggest fucking great mistake out of the players. It's probably cost players an insane amount of money in their careers, and I don't know if you can calculate that.
No,
fucking number.
brother, no, you're wrong. Because here's the thing: when we were talking about making a players' union and doing all that stuff officially, that's a give and take. When there's a players' union, you go to the league and you want certain things. There's a give and take. So what would be the give? Because honestly, top players, if you're a top player and you have high stock, you don't give a fuck about the minimum salary. Why would you care if the minimum salary gets raised from 50K to 65K?
I'm not talking about the minimum salary.
So what are you talking about? Because that was the only give that, like the give and take that we were talking about.
If on the players, like there's no way if they were actually taking real advice. The way that like a lot of contracts were in Mod for 2019, I cannot believe players fell for this. Is like they were like, oh, here's a year 1 deal, and then we're gonna give you a 35% raise year 2, as if like that was gonna happen on like 80% of teams. So people got dropped and they fell for the same gambit again, and then they got cut on the deal. I think if you're the players and you contractually like bargain for the beginning of the CDL, I would not have allowed the default contract to be a 1+1 where the fucking team is an option.
Okay, so what would you give up to get it? Is my question to you? Because obviously,
here's the problem: there's a massive
it's a give and take.
hypothetical. There's an insane fucking hypothetical, Zen, because we don't know about discussions that never fucking happened.
I was in the
We don't know
call,
about-
brother. We were talking to lawyers. We got all the
Oh,
Yeah, but you
information.
were
shit.
never,
we needed.
Turn it down.
negotiating. You were never negotiating with Activision, though.
Because we discussed the give and take, and the give wasn't worth the take, or maybe I have that backwards.
This not. Are you? From my understanding, the reason it didn't happen is because people were not willing to pay the upstart cost to actually.
That
fund
is
the
not it at all, because it did not make sense for any mid to high level player to like give up something just to raise the minimum salary. Because what else could you? Bro,
There's other
teams are
things that
making-
you would have bargained for.
What-
If
like
that's
what?
the player's mindset,
Like
then they
what,
were
bro?
very
Players-
selfish.
No, players are making $300,000 to $500,000. How could you not be selfish?
This was before that, wasn't
No,
this?
it's not. This
is
was
World War
like
II.
year 1, year 2.
Oh,
World
so
War
you're
II.
hold on. I never heard about this. So you're telling me, some point during Mod for 2019, after the fucking CDF got
Yes.
founded, people were talking about unionizing then?
Yes.
Oh,
Wait,
that wouldn't have not fucking mattered at that point. You had no fucking leverage. You missed the
Okay,
window
so-
by 2 years at that point.
Bye.
I mean, they're two entirely different products. So what do you mean?
Bro, because the only way you would have gotten a real CBA would have been before the league started. At that
But
point,
brother,
like,
1+1s didn't exist in World War II.
no,
One
I'm saying they
plus
existed.
ones
They existed in Mod for 2019.
Exactly. So what are you talking about World War II for?
I'm saying if the union was formed prior to even prior to MLG getting bought, or right in the initial part MLG was bought when they were starting to consider franchising, you'd actually organize, because you would have forced Activision to have to negotiate with you at the table, right? Because they were talking about a salary cap. There's a whole PR battle you would have gotten about the legality of that without a CBA. Like, they would have won that argument. You would have been at the table in the beginning and actually had negotiated some of the stuff in your favor. Instead, what you're trying to do is undo
Okay, you're
fucking
saying
policy that Activision had.
okay. So you're saying we should have unionized before the CDL.
Yeah, because then you create
was
an issue
incepted.
where then the teams would have had to adjust their participation agreement then on top of the agreed.
I
Oh,
don't
we've
think
been
brother-
down these union talks so
brother,
many times,
no,
bro.
but-
We've been
no,
down
but
these
listen,
talks.
brother, I'm not gonna lie, Ben. If you were to talk right now, players and orgs, who's gotten the better bargain? The answer is the players. So like, I don't really think the players missed out much by not unionizing, because every player made a lot more money, and if you're a top player, you still get paid good money. Like, I really don't. I don't think unionizing would have actually changed anything really.
So you're telling me that inevitably once Activision figures out microtransactions and people are making real money off of it and the players are going to see zero, like, that's good?
That's different, because that hasn't happened in 13 years. So I mean, yeah, when they do figure out microtransactions, I would hope that players are involved in some capacity.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
closest thing we
that's-
had was the creator code in the store, which some of us got.
Yeah, and who was buying fucking codes, bro? Unless you're like a top of the line player, that especially players that are actually actively building their brands and streaming and making content and actually, like, you know, selling creator codes. Half of those codes are probably not even selling at all or not doing anything at
No,
all.
listen, bro, union dues are not the problem. Right now, it's what do you because the way collective bargaining works is it's a give and take. We would go to the CDL, we would say we want this and you get this. That's the way it works. You have to agree on certain things. So what would the players give up? Or what are the players willing to give up is the entire thing. You can't just go to the CDL and say, we want this, we're giving you nothing in return.
That's where you and I are arguing past each other, because I'm talking about in the context of this that happened before season 0 of the fucking CDL first offseason. You're talking about like year 2 at that point.
Chat, do you think players should union
But I
form a
get what you're
union or
saying.
no?
I just feel like you're all
They-
over
they-
the
they
place
missed-
because
What do you think, chat?
like,
No, they missed
Yes
it
or
all.
no?
They
Do
missed it
you
all
think
four
players
years
should form a
before. They
union?
could've,
Yes
bro,
or
they
no?
could've- The union talks were happening prior to World War II. Like, this was happening during, I believe, the jetpack era, and it didn't happen for economic reasons. So it's just kind of tough. A lot of chickens are coming to roost on that. And I agree with you. The
Bro,
players.
it had nothing to do with economic reasons. I don't know why you keep saying that. I promise you it didn't. I was in the talks.
The initial. No, I'm talking about the initial. We're talking past each other. I don't doubt this about the year 1, year 2
I don't
thing.
remember any World War II like that. I was obviously
You
heavily
can go
involved
find.
in World
You
War
can
II.
go find clips like Clay talked about it on stream.
Hey, does any other esport have a union like the players?
He told the whole story because Clay was the running point on it. And
I'm
he got
muted.
very frustrated because no one
Hey,
else wanted to
does
help
any
out.
Ben? Does any other esport have a union like the players?
Ben, you have
yes.
the timeline wrong. This was all
Right.
2019. When
No.
Clay was spearheading it, brother, I can find the email right now if you want. If Clay sends me his email, I can find the exact date of when we were looped in with the lawyers and we were discussing everything. The union dues are not that
it
expensive.
may have been a second attempt, but there was a first attempt that was a year prior. I know for a fact.
But even then, what would have been at that point we were fighting for nothing. And franchising, of course, wasn't necessarily like we didn't know what franchising was gonna entail.
There's plenty of shit you could have fought for.
Like what, brother? What did the players need that we didn't get? And trust me, I would love to sit here and be like, yo, we got fucked over in this way, but a lot of players now have a lot more money because of the salaries we got. So it's like, I still think the players got a lot more out of the bargain than the orgs did, which is why orgs are now like, fuck, and they're trying to correct everything.
Well, I mean, it's orgs are trying to
That's facts.
for
Zin, that's facts.
or listen, some of these orgs are trying to correct it because a lot of them are non-endemics. We're talking specifically to CDL.
Bro, it's just hard to make money, and just think about it, bro.
Anyone
You
would
can
have told
watch
anyone the TV
esports
business
for
had 10
free.
years ago.
Think about any competitive product, right? Esports is so used to free viewing that you can't just put a paywall in front of it because people would freak out. Every competitive product has some type of paywall. You have ESPN Plus, you have Prime Video now. Like that's the biggest deals for a competitive product. So orgs can't make money. I mean, you can make money by selling merch. throwing an event, and then at that point you still got to spend a lot of money to make money back. Like and then you have to pay players these salaries, and then in return you get a percentage of their prize winnings if they go out there and win prize money. Orgs are struggling, bro. And that's the reality of it. Like, we all need to figure out how we can help orgs make money, because that's the longevity. Obviously, I would love to sit here and be like, holy fuck, every player deserves $500K a year, because I'm a player and I always will side with the players. But like, orgs need to make money.
So to your point then, like, do you think on that context that the Thieves thing would happen?
That's
Probably
I don't
not.
know.
That's what you were saying, Ben. Probably not.
I do think Thieves is.
That's where it's interesting.
I would say of the orgs, Thieves is one of the more likely.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they're likely to do
agree.
it, but I think of all of them, I think if a team's going to do it, I think it would be Thieves. Out of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to know from the problem at this point in this roster mania is everything that's come out has all been from the player side, and we've heard zero from any like team sources.
I mean,
Nothing from rotation, nothing from Jake. I've tried to fish for stuff, and it's just like everybody is very much holding their cards to their chest. I think just because of the Toronto situation is the issue.
I don't think anybody really knows.
People know. The problem is Toronto kind of holds all the cards, and is really kind of the key first domino to fall here.
I think realistically,
their players are all involved in those first couple moves.
I think if you're Thieves in, you're entertaining this. I mean, this is what I said in the fucking 30 minutes ago, but I think you look at the team on paper, you entertain it, you see how much it'll cost you, you see how much you got in the bank, and you see if it's worth it or not. You discuss whether it's worth the risk or not, or whether it's worth doing whatever their game plan is, what they want to do.
Comes down to the
You know
players
what I mean?
because the players do need to take less money than they actually really want, especially if you're a top player like Hydra or Scrap. If you want to have a quote-unquote super team where there's big buyouts involved, the players have to sacrifice something.
Yeah.
You can't just expect the buyout to happen and then you still make that crazy inflated salary.
100%. 100%.
It depends on if the players are willing to give anything up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope.
Agreed.
I know Breaking Point just like rando tweeted this. I hope they kind of try and dig in and try and get like the org. POV
On that
this,
note, I think that's where I want to end it. But unless you got any more
Okay.
final thoughts, Ben. Unless you got any more final thoughts, but
no, roster man has been slow, and again, it's just all in Toronto.
right
so
there.
We just got to get more info on what they want to do.
Toronto is the domino, and nothing will happen until that shit's figured out.
yeah.
And they might wait till. And I said this on the.
There's a
last
lot of
couple
moving
episodes.
pieces that we just don't know what's going on. Whether
they
Thieves
might
are willing to
just wait
spend,
forever.
Toronto's situation, the C9 situation. I mean, there's just so much happening.
Wasn't there a rumored Toronto roster?
No, I don't
Scrim
think
Intel
so.
tweet. What did Scrim Intel tweet?
Said if Cramp and Nasty leave LAT and move to Vancouver with the booze in 04 would be likely. I mean, I don't know if I like that team though. Cramp Nasty, a booze in 04.
I don't mind it.
So who's running the?
I don't like it
who's
that
running the
much.
subs-
I don't like
Who's
it that
running the subs
much.
on this team?
Who's running the subs? 04 and Crimp.
I don't like it.
AR is Nasty and Abuza.
I don't like anything about that sub duo at all. Oh nah.
I just think the team in general is just it's just one of those weird teams, bro.
Hold
Just
on. If I'm being honest, this would be the best case for Crimp and Nasty. I think this is where they would need to go if they want to still be a top team. I put this team top 5.
No, hell no.
Okay, who's above them? Where do you go?
We
if
don't
you're
know. We
Crimp
don't
and
know any
Nasty?
other fucking teams yet. So let's not
Okay,
rank
who do you want to
fucking
play
teams.
with then? Brother, I think 04 and Abuza are very sought after players.
Toronto and subliners are still open options in this situation. Who the fuck
Subliners?
Okay, who is Cloud9 going to have if Paco leaves? It's going to be Caesar and Kiz and who else? Because Dante's.
Just Caesar and Kiz.
And I guess Dante, they bring fucking Dante back. Who's Toronto
No.
going to have they lose 2
It'd
players?
be Caesar, Kiz, Crimp, Nasty.
I would rather that situation than Vancouver, no?
I wouldn't.
You'd rather go with a Boozer in 04?
I'd rather go with some unknown variables and roll the fucking dice.
My only problem with the Crep Nasty Abuja 04 team is 04 like
Hey, thank you,
04
Mitch.
is
Appreciate you, brother.
obviously still kind of learning its way into respawn.
Let's
It's
get it,
very good
Mitch.
search, but they were just not a good search team at all with them actually statistically. I like what Abuja did in the main. I just worry with this Crep Nasty 04 like combination of sub players just seems like a bottom 3 sub duo in the league, no matter how you slice it.
I mean, I think
And we
that
don't even know
depends
some of
on-
these teams yet.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like
It's just a weird team. I mean, listen, guys, this is a weird team. Even just
It's a weird
like,
team that's
even
not
just
gonna
like
work.
personality wise, I don't even know if these guys would work, man. Just like, like who's gonna like, you know what I mean?
It's the same problem as the old Vancouver roster, bro. It's a dogless team, and yeah, they're probably capable because they're gonna work hard of getting like top 6, but they're gonna immediately lose on the middle of the day on fucking Saturday and be out of the tournament.
Yeah, but
And
that's
if they get
every
lucky,
team, brother.
if they're lucky,
that's
they
the
lose.
reality.
Yeah,
And
we
that's
said that
every
we
team.
we said that about every. Pat came on the fucking flank after champs last year and said the top 4 is going to be the top 4, and yet Thieves made it to the fucking final of EWC. So it's just not true. There are teams that break through.
I'm not saying teams don't have good events, but if we're talking on a consistent basis, yes, the top 4 is the top 4.
Yeah, but Creme Nasty
you've
Abuso
seen,
4 is
and you
not
saw
gonna.
that throughout the year. Look at every team that won an event. Name one team outside the top 4 that won an event, Ben. There
None,
isn't one.
But Thieves made a run at the end of the season, which we got.
They made a run, but they did not win.
They were better.
LAG made a run. They did not win.
Toronto
The top 4
Toronto didn't
dominated.
win the last 2 events. Would you put Thieves over Toronto at the end of the season?
Repeat that. Sorry.
Would you rank Thieves above Toronto if you were to rank top 5 teams after EWC?
After EWC, yes.
I
But that's a sample size thing. I mean, Toronto won an event. Thieves didn't.
Toronto
Thieves
won the
turned
event
up
in
towards the
fucking
end.
January. And then go look at their placement since then. Their best placing was 3rd at their own event. It's a major 3, and they got whomped in finals. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, I actually do think it turned more into top 3 than top 4. I actually do think Ultra was actually like I had Ultra 4th, but I had the top 3 as more of a top 3, if that makes sense. Like I think they were more dominant on a consistent basis. I think ever since the maps changed and they removed Skid Row and all that, I think Ultra fell off a cliff a bit.
I think we're underselling Thieves, but my problem to circle back with this fucking Vancouver team is what
Fuzzy, David, a 5-bomb, Fuzzy.
04 is a great Surge player. Listen, I'm not saying they're going to be
Thank
good,
you, man.
but I think
I love you,
Abuza
Fuzzy.
and 04 are a very, that's a duo that I think players would want to go play with. Abuza has had an unreal season.
Yeah.
04 had a good season, too. I think he'll continue to get better. It was literally his first season. I think he's a great Surge player, which I think a lot of teams would like to have a great Surge player on their team. If anything, I think Abuza and 04 are more of a stronger duo than Kremp and Nasty.
I agree with that. That's why I don't like this move, because I think Booz and 04 could do better than Kremp and Nasty. I'm not trying to shit on those players. Then the good players, but as a duo, I just think it becomes very awkward with the other two.
Tom,
that are on the team.
another tweet apparently is that they're all saying that.
From who?
I don't know. There's I'm not sure if they're just coming in late or
Boston likely sticking with the EWC roster. We knew this. I mean, that's just
we
a
knew
dog
this.
shit decision.
Trolling.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's it right there. I mean, that's it right there. You know what I mean?
It's just the current team is just
I mean, it's bad, bro. I
They
mean,
just are, bro.
Listen, bro. I get they're good. Like, bro, they're good players and stuff. But like, why wouldn't you entertain other things to see like who you could get, what you could do? They're not even like trying. You know?
I heard pretty early that this team was sticking.
Yeah, I
So,
heard
like,
early. I heard this team was sticking weeks ago.
and I was just like, I don't want to talk about it
I
because
like the ARs. I do like Awakening and Cammy.
I heard they were sticking after EWC. No bullshit. Like right away.
it's a team where the problem with the Boston team is like it's a team where all of those players like can be league caliber, but like after this last season, like none of them I feel like are ending in like a positive direction at all. Like Snoop had an extremely up and down season. Boston's roster was a complete shit show all year. Wake got dropped, did decent challengers. They did.
Bro, someone said I'm
EWC.
biased towards Awakening. And that's because I am, because I know how good that guy is, and he literally had one bad stage, and everyone started talking about him like he's the worst. Does he play slow at times? Sometimes, yes. Does he need to fix that? Yes. Like Awakening is a takeover level player. Like there are not many takeover level players that people talk about, and Big Joe can take over versus any of the top teams on any given map.
Not this year.
He did it at EWC. That was the only event. You can't judge at EWC. He pissed on FaZe. He got hard costed. He dropped 45 on their head on a Rio.
And what happened to that map?
When did I say the team was better than FaZe? Obviously, FaZe is better. I just said Big Joe is a takeover
What
level
happened
player.
The other
I just
two maps in
told
the
you
series, brother. Like
he took over against FaZe. I'm saying he has takeover potential.
He's a good player. He just needs the right people around him. That's my thoughts. He's a good player.
I'm not saying
He's the right
he's
people
gonna
around.
go 3-0 FaZe by fucking 1v4ing. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that to write off Big Joe because he had one bad stage in his entire life is the most insane thing ever. It's just the
No,
COD hive mind fucking thing where
I'm
people hop
writing
on a
off.
train and they're
Listen.
like, "Oh, this guy's dog shit." Exactly
Listen.
what that is.
My issue with the Wake is I don't think he was terrible in respawn this year when he was in
Let's
the league.
get
or
it,
at
Cuban.
EWC.
Appreciate
He was
you, bro.
just every opportunity against pros.
Thank you,
He was
Cuban.
extremely poor in
I
search
love
and
you,
destroy.
man.
And the series you
I love
talked
all
about,
you,
and I'll
man.
look up the stats. I'm pretty sure he didn't do much in that second map either. Like he's got to figure out S&D. I don't know what happened in that game mode this year. That's why he got dropped from Minnesota. Because they made it a million game fives and couldn't fucking win. Because
I agree.
they play Invasion S&D and he's a tank player and he's just tweaking in like the most important spot on the map.
I don't disagree with that. He was playing like shit for a bit.
Because I think he's got potential. I don't hate him. I don't hate fucking Boston.
How did he do in
giving him a
challengers?
fucking
He
chance.
played pretty good. He played well in
He
challengers.
was definitely solid in challengers.
Yeah, he was
also,
solid.
The problem with this Boston team is that Snoopy Purge sub duo just assumes that Snoopy continues to progress, which I think is a question mark. And Cammy AR, Cammy Wake
needs
AR
to be
duo
good again,
is
bro.
just-
That's one of my best friends.
I don't know, bro.
Cammy needs to be Cammy again. And I think he shows like glimpses of that, but he just needs to find that consistency again.
They just have too many inconsistent players on this team. Cammy's inconsistent. Purge is inconsistent. If two.
My only thing is I just don't think Boston has a lot of pull right now. I don't think they're offering salaries. Like, obviously, I think the players that you would want to go after are tied up, like Lynn's on G2, Gwyn on Carolina. Like, I don't really think you have the pick of the crop. So I don't really... I'm not saying I would have made the same decision. If I'm them, I definitely wouldn't commit to this roster yet. Like, I don't think any of these players are going anywhere where you have to like rush and lock this roster in. That's surprising.
I
But
just my concern is that the two teams. So like I agree with you. They didn't play that bad at EWC. They beat Miami, who played awful at that event. They smoked FC Black to get in a
yeah,
bracket.
Tom is itching for GTA. Tom, you
No,
wanna
I'm
go
not.
play
No, I'm
GTA?
not.
Yeah.
No, I'm not itching. I'm not itching. I'm good. I'm chilling.
trying
I'm
to
waiting for them to
remember-
fight. They're supposed to be fighting. I'm just waiting.
I'm trying to remember the other.
I'm listening to you guys. I actually am.
team they
I listen. You
Who's
guys
your
know
team
I'm a
member?
COD lover at heart, bro. I love talking
Toronto.
about this shit. I'm listening. It's just, I just don't agree, Tony. To be honest with you, with the Boston shit, I don't agree. I
No,
think
I like
think
the ARs. I just don't know who else they could necessarily get given their. I'm assuming they're offering minimum salaries. I don't know that at all, by the way. Like I literally don't know. I haven't really talked to anybody there in a while. But I just assume based on what we know, like from the outside, that they're not throwing money around. So it's like,
Yeah.
who do you go and get? The only thing I don't like is that they don't need to lock in this roster. These guys aren't going anywhere. So why not
Well-
just wait and see who's going to be available and then figure out what you want to do?
So what CDL Scrimmage tells me is actually interesting. It says Boston likely sticking with the WC roster. So it doesn't say like 100% and say they re-sign their contracts. Like obviously some shit can go down in the next 3 weeks and they're like, maybe not. But I'd heard the only thing is I'd heard pretty early, like after EWC, that they were, because of all the org situation going on and all that, like they were still happy with the result of the team and like that's why they were going to give it a chance. I just think like, I don't know, bro. When I see the caliber of some of these teams in the CDL, like, is this Boston team going to be willing to just kind of grind through the wall and like try and get out of this fucking pack of teams and be 5-6 at the top, or is it going to be another situation like, but they just batted 2 game modes and they're just bottom of the league again? I don't know.
they're gonna be bottom of the league again.
It's a great-
Because
it's
you
a
gotta
great chance for these
compare them.
players,
You have to compare. Okay, I won't say bottom,
Yeah.
but they won't. I mean, you just gotta compare them to the rest of the league, bro. That's all it really comes down to. Just compare them to the rest of the league. And
Why does
I
Methodz have any weight? He won twice at his teeth. Thank
Yeah,
you. I
ignore that-
agree with you.
ignore
Why
that
do I
guy.
have any weight?
It
I
seems
that
mean,
was
winning,
insane
winning,
last
winning
year,
twice is tippable. Winning twice is like that. Like that's hard, you know. So
No, I'm sorry.
I
I didn't mean
just
to cut you off, Tom.
I
what?
just
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're
I
good.
just
No,
think
you're chilling.
one of the interesting angles to consider this year is that the beta and the maps in the beta were pretty small. The gameplay was pretty quick. Will this be a year, assuming there are no more crazy weapon adjustments, which isn't fact, is this a 3-sub game? Because any teams that really don't have a capable third sub, unless they've got some insane system where they're going to be able to front run people and run 2 ARs, are going to have a lot of trouble in overperforming their fucking ability as a team at events.
I actually, based on the beta we played and based on how I assume the game's going to be played, I actually do like, and I promise I'm not biased, I actually do like Cammy Cammy and Awakening, only because I actually think I'd prefer Cammy on an SMG in a game like this.
What?
Team and a sub, third
Why?
sub.
You want
Cammy
Cammy on an SMG, bro? He's
in
literally in
this
his
type of game? That's
Well, I
when he
guess-
was at his best was at SMG.
Well, this game's
Literally, he
gonna
was known as
this game. No, he was not. He was at his best when he was running an AR. Was it not?
no, he's not. He's at his
No,
best when he's running
running-
74U.
He's running a sub. I think it was his best. I don't.
What?
Problem is
What
he
about
hasn't
the?
been-
Cammy
No, no,
ran an.
actually,
Was he a
hold on, I don't-
flex?
I don't. This is not a bad take.
He
Chat, do
was not a
roast in.
full-time sub,
Bro,
bro.
do not roast in. This is a good take. But the problem is, I just don't know if Cam's
Bro.
gonna. My questions in is like,
Oh, no,
is he gonna be?
I have the
Is he
same
gonna be a
thoughts.
productive third sub? I don't think that was a terrible thought of you. I just don't know if he's
No,
gonna
I
be productive
think-
this year.
But I think if you're Boston, you're getting players that aren't going to be sought after anyway. And the way I think is reality.
Wait, Chad,
If
he
it's
was
not
actually a
working out, you gotta
full-time
be quick
sub
to
in
make
Cold War.
moves. I'm okay with them trying Awakening and Cammy, but if it's not working, then something's got to change, right? The only issue is if something's not working and then they sit on it for too long.
He was a flex, right?
I
Bro,
mean, I guess
yo,
the way
are you
this-
sure? Wasn't Cammy a flex in Cold War?
Yeah, but he ran a sub a lot.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but
wasn't that a
it's
3-sub meta basically? Wasn't it
On
besides
in a lot of
Moscow? Wasn't it?
situations.
But
he
I'm
was three
saying-
subs.
Garrison, Raid.
APOC.
He was running the third sub basically most of the time.
oh yeah. No, a third sub's a little bit different though. That's just
Well,
different. It's
and-
just like
Well, that's what he'd be doing now.
That's the point we're trying to make. The third sub is like look. Okay, FaZe and Optic perfectly set for 3 subs. You just look at the players on the team. They can. Their main ARs could run a fucking sub if it fucking came down to that. It's some of these other teams where I see more like full-time AR players at this point. Yeah, Cam in his prime was doing that, but is he able to be productive in that way as a third sub on this Boston team? Like, I don't know. It's a big question. But I
I
agree with you,
mean-
Zen. Maybe their calculus is just like you look at the free agent list and it's like,
I just
lot
want to
of-
know where the rest of the players are going. Like, I want to know where Attach is going. I want to know if Slasher's in. I want to know if Ender's getting back in. Like, I want to know what's going on, and I wonder if all of those teams are waiting for scrap as well. Because surely some teams aren't going to be affected by Ultra's moves, right? Like, I don't know.
yeah, look at this Tony. Look, they're going crazy. Look at these guys.
well, I assume that
Yo.
Vancouver and Minnesota are the 2 teams that they're on the border, and that's the complication in this because they can go both ways, right? We just saw with the Vancouver stuff. It's like if Thieves is going to do super team, then like, are they going to rethink what they're doing? That I agree with you, and I want to know about that because like, you know, those 2 teams can go in a lot of different directions with who's available in free agency because they got nobody on the roster. We got 2 on Vancouver, good 2 players, and then Lynn's
And
who on
Gwyn.
Minnesota had a good start. Yeah, and the Gwyn situation's interesting too. That's a good point on Carolina.
Damn.
Wait, is Trey still a cop, Tom, or no?
Nah. We're in a gang war right now with these blue. You see these blue flags? We're in a gang war with them. We've been killing. We stole their chains. Me and MC yesterday stole their chains and shit. We were posted on the timeline. MC was posted as AG with no shirt on, with their chains on. Oh man, they've been pissed, bro. They've been fucking pissed, man. Now they need me. Yeah, I'll be in there.
I do want to
I'll
know
get
what's
in there.
going on with Ender, by the way.
Yeah,
Illy-
he's so quiet all the time in these situations, bro. You
Bro,
never
I
know what
just-
the hell's going
Bro,
on there.
all I know is old school Ender, as we speak, would be in the throwback Black Ops 3.8s, grinding Call of Duty. And I don't see him grinding anymore. And Ender used to be the biggest grinder ever. So to me, it's like Illy went from playing nonstop to just being in the shadows. So what's actually going on with Ender?
I don't know. And I'm gonna be honest, bro. I'm kind of tired of talking about it, cause like
Yeah.
it's like he's just not doing anything. He's had his chances too. He's played really well, but there's always something going on, and now he's just like super quiet. Like, bro, you gotta be invested into this shit if you want to play, bro.
Well, I mean,
Like-
no. If he gets, so I made a comment saying I don't think Ender's going to get a team. I shouldn't have said that. I think
He
Ender will
could.
get a
He
team
could. He's a great player.
if-
I just
if
don't know
Ender
if he
can
cares.
prove that he's
How much he
Ender, though.
cares.
Because he was injured and he was dancing on stage. So, is Ender good to go? Like, what's going on?
We don't know. That's the thing. And any organization doesn't know. If anybody wants to play with him or if any organization wants him, they probably don't even know. You know what I mean? That's why it's like, I mean, shit, I would pick a Billy. You know, if he's down, it just depends on, like, you have to talk to him. Like, bro, I would have to
I'm saying.
have.
Can he play a full fucking year? Because he hasn't
That's
done
what I'm
that in 2
saying,
years.
bro. He used to stream and shit, didn't he?
Yeah, all the time. He always had the
he's
streams
he's
up.
one of the biggest grinders. But
Bro,
like,
exactly. That's my thing. Where the fuck is he? If it like, I don't know. To put myself in Ender's shoes, if I was trying to be a pro and I was trying to get a decent team, I'd have that shit on and I'd be grinding.
I mean, yeah, I'd play with him, but you can't play with him until you have a conversation with him and ask him. Like, bro, you would have to talk to him about everything. Like, I'd be like, yo, what's going on here?
Obviously, if Ender's
You know?
good to go, I mean, he probably has like the biggest actual free agent stock right now. Like, and like if Ender's like fully good to play, then I think his stock would be actually pretty high in the current market. It's just there's so many question marks
as
around him.
far as team players are not that are in free agency, correct? Like players that aren't currently
Yes,
on our.
like as in like literal free. And Mac as well, by the way. I actually really think Mac should get a decent squad. I feel bad. Mac had to step away to deal with some family stuff, but that kid's a facilitator. That kid can win.
Yeah, Mac's a winner for sure. I mean, he's won before, but I mean, just play. I mean, I play with the guy. It was everything that was going down. I mean, the thing is now is if Mac doesn't get picked up, he's probably gonna have to hop into challengers for a little bit. Which honestly, I'm not worried with him. If he were to play challengers, I'm not worried. I think he'd get back in because I think he'll play really well in challengers. I really do. I think he'll.
I agree.
I think he'll go crazy down here. People are saying a Sib and Mac reunion would be crazy.
I don't mind that.
I don't
where
mind
does
that at
Sid
all.
go?
A Sib and
Because
Mac reunion would be crazy,
Yeah,
and I don't know
Dante's got a weird
where
angle now.
Dante's going because his
it
name's
depends. If Scrap goes to
been
Thieves,
quiet
I
with
think
Dante.
Sib just goes to Ultra. To be honest, actually no, because I heard the. I mean, hold on.
You see
What'd you hear?
TJ? You see TJ?
Is there a rumored Ultra roster?
Not that I've heard, unless you've heard of one.
I was just curious if there's a public rumored roster.
There is like what I had heard coming out.
An ultra roster?
We
Yeah.
talked about this on like the first line coming out of EWC. That like obviously the likely player if they were to stick would probably be Jamie going. So like they've obviously been tossing around errors, but I think very quickly it became a like what's going to happen to Scrap and Envoy and all of them because they all got told at the same time it came out. And I don't think we've gotten circled back to like the world in which Toronto is a fucking team. But I just think that would change every 5 seconds because who the fuck knows?
Yeah,
like,
that's. I feel
where the
like
players are
that's
gonna
kind of
go.
like not. I don't even think they have a team right now, Tony. Like they're probably still figuring so much shit out.
They
Yeah,
should
yeah.
also, if you
There's
were
no
to
way they
org-
actually have like a team in mind yet. I mean, they
you
probably
were
have
to
so many
org-
scenarios going on in their head.
You do not want that to get out. That will kill a lot of your leverage. If you've already got a team in place and like personal agreements, then the minute that comes out, like every team that's trying to buy players off your roster are going to be like, so why are we not done yet?
Yeah.
So that I assume will not leak unless someone is very upset at Toronto and wants to cause havoc, or the deals are done and then all the information just comes out.
Then G2, I think, actually is the biggest question mark because I'm not sure if they're willing to spend anymore. I don't really know, like, the current... Like, back when I was on G2, fucking Carlos was running it. So I really don't know what goes on at G2 now. But Linz is a player that people would want to play with. Linz has potential where players might want to, like, see what he's got more.
I think...
I could see, like, Sib, Mac, Linz in one.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's a lot of personality on a team. But if Dan can figure it out, that would be a good squad.
A lot of personality. It's just Sib.
I mean,
Well,
yeah,
you got-
TJ wants to know where TJ's going.
I think TJ had a great fucking season. and
TJ did
I
have a
actually-
good season. TJ played
I
well.
actually
You
think
played
good.
well, TJ. You played
Honestly,
well.
I
Teej should
want
get a
Teej
big
to go to
bump here.
Vancouver, bro. I like
I agree.
04 Teej, Abuza in one. That's what I
love,
like.
I love that. I love
That's-
everything about that.
That's what I actually...
You played well, TJ. You did your
Get
thing.
Get
kid.
Teej and
You did
Teej
your
is
thing,
like
T-squared.
Teej is settling in a very nice role, which is like he's just a reliable every game search player.
Wait,
which is a
hold on.
fucking
That'd be a
premium.
good team. No bullshit. And
And-
TJ's my boy, so I promise I'm
and
not
he
just
gets you to
saying this.
respawn.
If you put Sib on that team, Abuza, Sib, 04, and Teej, I actually like that
I like
roster.
that.
think
I
it's
like
a-
that roster.
It's a great search team. You have slaying and respawn, especially by adding Dante. I
Oh,
actually like that team.
L4 is the biggest X factor. of the
Abuza
team,
and
though.
Dante would be a really good duo.
Yeah, Sib and 04 would need to squash it, but I'm sure they could.
Yo,
bro.
I
sure
mean,
they would.
listen, bro. They might be able to squash that. And listen, sometimes those are like the best relationships, bro. Sometimes you gotta really flame each other and cook each other to get to know the real you. You know what I mean? You gotta, that might bring them closer together, guys. Sometimes sometimes you need to be pulled farther apart to be moved closer together. You know what I mean?
The only issue with that team is I mean, it's not really an issue, but it's just 0-4. He's just got to continue to progress and respawn. He was a great search player, but if you go look up his respawn stats, they were pretty poor this year. They were below average. But I'm not like putting too much pressure on him for that because he really just didn't play a lot of respawn before he came in the league. So you just got to continue to get better at it. But they would be I agree with you. They'd be an insane S&D squad. Holy shit.
There's a lot of teams that could form theoretically that could be good teams, but you have to wait to see what happens with like some of the superstars and where they're because everything just revolves around them. You get Attach, Sib, Mac, and Vivid. Orbit Ski said, "What do you guys think about that team? Attach,
like
Sib, Mac, and Vivid.
I like Vivid a lot. Who's the team? Attach, Sib, Mac, Vivid.
That's what Orbit Ski
team.
said. That's what he said. He's giving people are giving teams right now. People are giving out
It's
teams.
not that bad. I mean,
It's not that bad.
Mac and Vivid are boys. Sib and Mac have a little duo ship. I
don't know if they got enough slaying power. I don't know if they got enough slaying power.
I'm gonna be real with you guys. I just think that is just again, it's a team with a lot of personality. If they are on the same line and the practice is good, that team's great. But I think more likely is that team's going to have chemistry issues and they're just not going to progress well.
What about Slasher? Where could Slasher go?
I don't know. I've seen people in the chat saying Slasher too. People have been wondering about Slasher. Slasher, Nasty, Kremp, and Nero. That team's no, definitely not. Definitely not. Sib,
I want to
04.
could I cook someone in chat? Ben loves personality. Holy shit, bro. The difference between a lot of these bottom 8 teams contending against the top 4 teams and not is purely on personality.
Now, chemistry is like a big thing in COD, bro.
Super fucking
it's
important,
a big
guys.
thing. No, it actually
Super
is a big thing in
important.
COD. You know,
I don't think you guys realize how many times these bottom 8 teams they just get put together and like people have 17 ideas of how they want to play COD and it's just never gonna work.
Yeah,
everybody's got the same idea.
and everybody wants to be that guy because nobody wants to get dropped with those teams. When you do that,
I'm gonna bless a team with free game. Anybody who puts Nero on a flex is gonna realize it's the best decision of their life. That kid with an AR is dirty. And then if you have Nero's second AR and third sub, I promise you that's his best role. That kid is dirty with an AR.
The fire take, and I love it, Zen. I agree.
Wait, who are you talking about?
AR for us, Nero. When that kid used to have an AR out, we'd be like, holy fuck.
Oh, Nero's got like when it comes to just like shooting, like Nero's got insane like mechanics, bro. Like he's got insane talent. Like he's gross. He's always been nice like that.
I just think the problem for Nero
is just a consistency thing, which like when you got that play style, like, you know, that's going to be the hardest thing for him is like finding that consistency. But, you know, that also, I feel like when you play that role of COD, that also comes down to the rest of the team too, bro. Like, you know, like everybody's got to be on the same page for everybody to be consistent. Like a team that's not on the same page, they'll all have their moments and they'll all be inconsistent. You know what I mean? They'll all have it'll just be different waves of it, you know? Like that's what makes the top teams, bro. It's like those guys, like they all know what they have to do. They all fill in the gaps. They all know what they have to do. Like it's not like it's the word I'm looking for. It's not 14 different ways to play the game, like Ben was saying. I mean, that's just facts. Yeah.
Yeah, I just that's a big difference between a lot of these teams. Like Vancouver, the reason that they got pretty good at the end of the year is like once they had their mentality switch, everybody bought in the way they wanted to play, and that's how they started getting way better. When they were fucking sucking ass in Major 2 is because they had 17 different ideas of how they wanted to play. And we saw on the map, like they weren't sure if they wanted to fucking rotate or not as a team. Like that is how you lose consistently at good teams.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
No, I agree with Zen. I want to see there's some interesting bottom 8 teams that could form that could be pretty good. I assume we're just kind of waiting for this Thieves, New York, fucking Seattle.
I love you, Jack. I fucking love you.
Resolve itself, and then
thank you, brother. Thank you so much, Jack. 5 new members, man. Show Jack some love.
Microphone activated.
I agree. We gotta wait. We have to wait and see what happens. I mean, listen, we're going in circles now, gentlemen. You know what I mean? I mean, we can
absolutely.
We gotta wait to see what happens with some of these guys and see what's going on, and then we can circle back. I always love circling with this trio when some just random bullshit be happening on the TL. It's always a good time.
There's a good squad right here.
That's why I called you, Ben, because I was trying to get you to hop in TS because I wanted to talk to you about this shit.
That's always a pleasure.
You know, it's always. I mean, Ben J really is always a pleasure. You know,
boys. Whenever I'm on and you're talking rosters, man, I'd love to spew, bro.
Yeah, no, it's fun to spew. The only thing is now is I just feel like we go in circles and talk about a lot of hypotheticals because there's just so many moving pieces. You know what I mean?
It's been a low intel roster mania. That's why. We
It
just
is fun
haven't
to
done a lot
Oh,
of
no, it
it is fun
has.
to speculate.
No,
though.
it definitely is fun to speculate. That's why, it's like the wheels start turning and you start speculating. It's just, I think we're going to be able to start building rosters more once we start figuring out where some of these superstars are going. I think the number one thing for me right now is the whole Thieves situation. That's the number one thing for me. Because like a lot of these,
the situation is a Toronto situation.
like I feel like teams at the bottom of the league, like they don't make changes till after like some of these things are happening. Because it's like a trifecta, man. Like Dante, right, with C9, like people didn't expect Sid to get judged. So where's Sid going? He's obviously a great player, right? So he can come into one of these teams, and change things up and turn things. You know what I mean? So I'm waiting to see what's going on with Thieves. That's the biggest thing.
The Thieves Toronto New York triangle now. It's clear there's some version of it.
Yeah, I actually I won't
the
say
whole
Thieves.
situation.
I'll say Scrap and Hydra. What's going on with Scrap and Hydra? What are they doing? Like, what are they doing? Where are they going? Who are they playing with? Under what organization? What's happening with them? And then boom, it's over. Any other final thoughts? Ben's in on the situation. Any other final thoughts?
No, it's always a pleasure to yap with this.
I'm gonna get Nate shot drunk and I'm gonna come back with intel. That's what I'm gonna do.
That.
I like that.
Absolutely. I'm gonna fucking let's see what I can do here.
Absolutely. Sounds good to me.
I'm on the case, fellas.
Love that from you. Report back once you hear more.
Yeah.
All right, boys, man. You guys have a.
What are you doing? I saw you playing.
fantastic-
How are you still in gold?
Because it's my first day playing since I hit gold.
I thought you've
Cammy-
been playing like every fucking day, dude.
Not at all. Me and Cammy were a duo, and then he flew back to Scotland, so he's back in Scotland for a bit. I played Black Ops 3 yesterday. I've been watching Rocket League.
Hey, can we get a Winnie and a Wen spam in the chat for joining up? Also, can you guys make sure to like, comment, and subscribe?
Yeah.
Vals, it's always a pleasure. Vals, thank you so much for all the phenomenal work. It's always a pleasure. You know what I mean? Can we get a Winnie and a Lennon and a Wen in here?
God, it feels good to see the ZooMaa Mafia saying Winnie, man.
You know
It's
what
not
I mean?
many of those
Winnie
these
and Len is
days.
You know what I mean? No, they love you. Bro, see the Mafia, bro, if they're mean to you, it means they love you. That's how it's just, you know what I mean?
That's psychological 101.
If they cross the line and they're too mean, they
flirting.
get banned. If they cross the
They're
line, they're
just
too mean, they get
flirting.
banned. But they flirt with you, bro. They like, you know what I mean?